I don't want your I don't want the microbes you think I need. I want the microbes my body thinks it needs, and I'll
Mm,
build it that way. Um,
mm,
but what you can do, so I'm not in favor of probiotics as a general rule, right? Everyone's different. And I'm not prescribing anything here, right?
well,
But
I mean, I will say, I mean, common sense opinion
mhm,
is that, like, why should humans need an additional supplementary nutritional source?
how did we survive for tens of thousands
Exactly.
of years without
Like,
probiotics, right? I mean,
literally, that argument is what always conflicts with everything that
yeah.
you see touted as mainstream advice.
Now, what I will say is that we do know that all the money spent by probiotic companies on research
Hmm.
did show a couple things that I really think are value of good
Hmm.
value. That there are specific fibers, plant fibers
Hmm.
typically, obviously, right, that
Hmm.
promote specific types of bacterial growth. And
Hmm.
so, if you're having a specific issue, a targeted prebiotic, which is a specific type of fiber,
Hmm.
for a short period of time makes a lot of sense to me
Hmm.
because you're going to feed a specific bacterial microbiota that is helps with a specific issue you're having,
Hmm.
and then once that issue goes away, you don't need it anymore.
So what would be like a prebiotic source?
Okay, so most common ones. If you're trying to get your microbiome to have more Akkermansia, which is a type of bacteria that is really good for people who have gut dysbiosis, right? It helps
Hmm.
promote healing and getting the cells to be tighter junctions and stuff, and helps promote increasing the mucus layer
Hmm.
in your intestines.
Hmm. Hmm.
Well, you could use apple pectin. You could
Hmm.
use inulin fiber.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, there are a couple other things. Those are the really cheap and easy ones to get your hands on. You
Yep.
don't need to take them every day.
Hmm.
Maybe a couple weeks.
Hmm.
Supplement. And I'm not saying, if you get an inulin supplement at the pill store, right? It'll probably take 3 or 4 tablets every day, right?
Hmm.
And no, you probably can get away with one or two initially and get down to one
Hmm. Hmm.
and then get off of it. It's
Hmm.
targeted to that symptom. When the symptom starts going away,
Yep.
you've built enough bacteria in your gut. Put it
Hmm.
aside. Should you have that same type of a symptom,
Hmm.
go back and pull out that fiber. So
Hmm.
I do have some specific fibers I use for specific things when I'm noticing a small gut issue.
Hmm.
I don't take a probiotic every day. I don't take
Hmm.
a probiotic at all, but I don't take this fiber every day. But
Hmm.
there are times when I will take a little bit of fiber targeted
Right.
intervention.
Yeah, so basically it's like medicinal use of a
Right.
plant
I
source.
will never use that word for many reasons here in the US about
Mm,
being sued.
right,
For not
right.
being a doctor. I'm not a
Yep.
doctor. I do
No.
not prescribe anything. Okay, I'm just giving
Yes.
you education. Okay,
Yes.
so
I,
so but
hmm.
that's very important, right? Is the fact
Hmm.
that yeah, there I when people hear me talk about eating carnivore, the reason I push carnivore so heavily is that when you look at big studies of people, depending upon which study you're looking at, anywhere from 88% to 95% of at least Americans
Hmm.
have at least one marker of metabolic
Hmm.
disease.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
The big ones are what's your gut circumference, right?
Yep.
What's your blood pressure, what's your blood glucose levels like.
Hmm.
And it's really hard to figure out your blood glucose unless you have a CGM, which is the continuous glucose monitors, which, by the
Yep.
way, are now available over the counter and are wonderful. They're not that expensive, right? And it
Hmm.
tells you a whole lot about your body. But you have that. You have how much insulin do you have? I mean, there are a bunch of markers we look at. There are 7 or 8, and if you look at those 8 markers, 7 to 8 markers that typically define metabolic problems, uh, once again, depending on the study, it's 88 to 95% of Americans, right,
Hmm.
will have at least one of those that is not in the
Yeah.
correct zone, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, 75% or more will be at two or more easily, right?
Mm.
So, the issue here is that everyone needs to start somewhere, right? And the big issues in terms of metabolic disease are overweight, right? Obesity, hyperinsulinemia, which means
Hmm.
you're spitting out too much insulin all the time. Insulin resistance, which comes from hyperinsulinemia, right?
Hmm.
High blood pressure, right?
Hmm.
Uh, Aches and pains. So
Yeah.
if you have joints and stuff that are
Yes.
causing aches and
Like,
pains, that's not
yeah.
normal,
No.
right?
Exactly.
Brain fog,
Yeah.
uh, other types of neuro neural processes causing you problems, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, it all just sounds to me like if you have a computer that's overloaded with memory and it has no space, it doesn't perform well.
right. So with that in mind, right? I tell people, okay, so the first job is to get you into as clean a state as possible.
Hmm.
And that clean state for me is eating a diet that causes almost no inflammation in the food. Every time you eat a carb,
Hmm.
any type of carb, when your body converts that carbohydrate into glucose and then goes into the mitochondria to convert that glucose into an ATP, into
Hmm.
molecules of ATP, which is your energy. One of the things you always get in the cycle, not only do you get less ATP than you get with fatty acids, so fatty acids
Hmm.
are much more efficient, but
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
get what are called reactive oxygen species. It's just a function of the cycle, right? And for those of you who went to high school biology or college biology, it's called the Krebs or the TCA cycle, right?
Hmm.
It's citric acid cycle. Every time you run through that cycle once, if you're burning glucose, you're also creating ROSs, reactive
Hmm.
oxygen species, which are the underlying component of all inflammation in the body,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
When you convert fatty acids, you get virtually no ROSs because it's not part of the chemical cycle of the TCA cycle. There's
Yeah.
a little bit potentially as it's breaking down the fat, but very little. So you
Hmm.
get no inflammation eating meat and
Hmm.
fat, right?
Hmm.
When your body breaks down the amino acids, once again, almost no inflammation. But when your body's breaking down carbohydrates, once again, you get lots of inflammation. And then look at the body processes. When your body has to work harder to get rid of the blood glucose because you ate carbohydrates, well, that causes inflammation and stress to the body, right?
Hmm.
So the goal is then, okay, if all this stuff ultimately leads to metabolic issues, right?
Hmm.
Then if we eat cleanly, and carnivore is the cleanest form
Yes.
of
Yeah.
eating you can have.
I mean, I see carnivore as like the kind of finish line in terms of the transition.
Right. Well, for me,
Like if you
I would
can make,
I'd call it the starting line, but
well, yeah.
same point, right? You're absolutely correct. For me, you start on carnivore, you start getting healthy.
Hmm.
As you get healthy and you can feel your body getting healthier, then you can start adding other foods selectively
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
see how your body responds to them.
Hmm.
Now, one of the things is most people don't realize what we have an epidemic of people who are reacting to the food that they're eating.
Hmm.
A lot of times they think, oh, I'm allergic to peanuts or I'm allergic, and peanut allergies it's very
Yeah.
it can kill you. So if you're allergic to peanuts, don't eat peanuts, right? But there are lots of things. Oh, I react to dairy or I react to this. And
Hmm.
how you're reacting, I get a little bit of gut problems, I get a little bit of this, or I get some pimples on my skin. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay. It may or may not be an allergic reaction. It may just simply be you're reacting to the inflammation that comes from processing in your body that
Hmm.
type of food.
Hmm.
Uh, and once again, having a good doctor who specializes in allergies can help a whole lot with this. But the easiest way is, and by the way, I took my daughter for one of those tests because she needed it, and it cost several $100 to get her tested properly, but she
Hmm.
needed it because everything else was pointing to that this was an actual analogy for her. But
Hmm.
um, for most people, guess what? If we just get you onto a high quality carnivore diet, give it 6 weeks, all that stuff goes away.
Mm.
And so what happens? Well, a carnivore diet is an exclusionary diet, right?
Yeah.
It is one that gets you down to the basic stuff that feeds your body. And then once you're clean, then you can start adding other stuff to see how you respond, and you'll tell right away.
Yeah. For sure.
And
Yeah, for sure.
I'm the same way. Every once in a while, I'll try something that used to irritate me a little bit, but not a whole
Hmm.
lot, right? When that was part of my normal diet, and now within a
Instant.
couple hours, it's like,
Oh,
no, I'm not
instant.
eating that again,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, it's an interesting one because now your system is so clean that anything else that comes in, you notice it straight away, and it just motivates you just to get back on what you were doing. So
Hmm.
it's actually like a kind of self-sustaining motivational cycle because, like, obviously when you're just eating meat and stuff, after a while you do like, okay, I do just want to just try it. No, like last night I had an ice cream.
Hmm.
As soon as I had it, I'm like, why did I do that? Like,
Yes.
it's a bit, and even today, this morning, I just felt a bit kind of
If it was a
little bit
commercial ice
slower.
cream, it was the
Yeah,
combination of fat and sugars.
yeah,
And now that I told you about the Randall cycle, go look at my videos on it, and you'll
yeah.
understand exactly why your body reacted to that.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
it
Exactly,
can't handle
exactly.
fats and sugars at the same time. So,
No.
um, yeah, I mean, and this is where, and everything in my life, right? Everything is a spectrum. I don't believe in absolutes. Everything's a
Hmm.
spectrum, and carnivore is also a spectrum, right? At one end of carnivore is what in the carnivore community we call people who follow the lion diet. And a
Mm.
lion diet in carnivore is you eat only beef and lamb, ruminant meat,
Mm.
water, and salt. And that's
Hmm.
the most exclusionary diet there is. Now, what I'll tell you is that all the micronutrients and macronutrients your body needs can be had from ruminant animals.
Mm.
Our body was designed to eat ruminant animals.
Hmm.
Okay?
Hmm.
You don't need anything else. Um, and you'll be perfectly good. And there are people, and if obviously if you're watching me, you're on YouTube. Michaela Peterson, who's pretty well known. Her father, um, uh, Peterson. Oh, can't remember his name, but he's a famous Canadian psychologist, right?
Okay.
And she had uh, arthritis from the time she was a young child,
Hmm.
to the point that she had a knee replacement and an ankle replacement.
Hmm.
And she had all kinds of autoimmune conditions and all that. When she switched to carnivore, a lot of it went away. When she decided, wait a minute, let's just get down to the absolute basics, and she switched to lion diet, which was nothing but ruminant meat.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
for her, she found out that even lamb sometimes caused her a little bit of problem, I believe, was what she
Okay.
said. But essentially, all she eats is beef,
Yeah.
water, and salt.
Right.
She said all of her symptoms went away. All of the
Wow.
issues she had for 20 years went away. She got married. She got pregnant, which she could never do before, right? She
Wow.
has a beautiful child now. All her
Hmm.
health issues went away,
Mm.
and she will never eat anything else, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
There are several influencers I follow on YouTube who are advocating the line for them. And just like me, these guys will never tell you you have to eat a lion diet. What they'll say is that lion diet did this for me. This is why, because it's the absolute cleanest way of eating, right?
Hmm.
And you make your choice, okay?
Hmm.
And that's my big thing is that I always tell you, you are the CEO of your own health. Yeah, you have doctors who will give you advice, but they are not you,
No.
and they don't know everything there is to know.
No. Yes,
And
and exactly, like, they can be coming from a certain perspective that,
exactly.
yeah.
So do what's right for you because
Mm.
you're your own CEO of your own health. And if that means going lion diet, um, I have the eggs, right? Which is probably, for some people, eggs can be very problematic. For me, it doesn't bother me at all. Um,
Hmm.
and I eat the eggs because I want the leucine hit. And I've got a
Hmm.
whole series because when you're over 60, like I am, you need more leucine to get your body to build muscle or maintain muscle mass.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay. When you're under 60, it's usually not a problem. But when you're over 60, you start worrying
Hmm.
about that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I eat the eggs because I want the leucine hit, right? Um, but there are a lot of people who don't like eggs or whatever.
Hmm.
Fine, I don't care. But there's another influencer on YouTube where he advocates, especially for starting out, what they call beef, bacon, and eggs.
Hmm.
Okay, um, or um, yeah, beef, bacon, eggs, and butter. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's either three or four B's, depending on who you're
Hmm.
talking to, right?
Hmm.
And my problem with that, a little bit, is uh, butter is a dairy product, and some people have latent problems with dairy
Hmm.
because there is still an element of uh, butter solids or milk solids in butter.
Hmm.
If you really want to tell if that's the case, go to ghee. Ghee is
Hmm.
clarified butter. You don't
Yep.
have to buy the really expensive stuff at the store. You can clarify it yourself. It takes 20 minutes,
Yep. Yep.
right? But ghee gets rid of all the milk solids, and it's just
Hmm.
pure butter fat.
Hmm.
I don't know of anyone that has any problems with ghee
Mm.
in
Yeah,
terms
it's
of
true. I
reactions.
mean, like, yeah, I mean, in my time working for, yeah, ultra high net worth families
Hmm.
as private chefs, often, I mean, I mean, it's gonna laugh, but the proportion of kids in these types of families that have allergies to
Hmm.
this or that, or the instructions are no lactose, no whatever. So either the parents or the mum is kind of on the button with the kind of these sorts of things, or these kids are just born
Hmm.
this way. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's often like a lactose-free thing, so that we
Hmm.
would like they could still have things like Parmesan or like
Hmm.
well-aged cheese.
Yep.
Um,
Which get
ghee
rid of
was
almost
one.
all the milk
Yeah,
solids. Yep.
yeah, that's yeah. So it definitely
So
has
yeah. So
properties.
I don't have a problem with milk solids. So butter is
Hmm.
part of what I do.
Mm.
But I'll tell people if you're switching to a carnivore diet and you're having problems still, get rid of the butter.
Right.
Same thing with bacon, right?
Mm.
There are people who just like I love bacon, I love pork. Pork's
Hmm.
carnivore, right? Yeah, but pork, the problem with pork is pork has a lot because it's a monogastric, right? Pork is a true omnivore, and who knows what
Hmm.
they're feeding the pigs, and that stuff does
Mm.
get into the meat and the fat, but there's a lot of PUFAs in pork that you don't get in beef,
Mm.
and there's a lot of omega-6 fatty acids.
Hmm.
Um, so I avoid pork for that reason.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
another
I
reason,
guess
religious
like
reason, but I don't eat pork.
yeah, sure.
So beef is by far
Mm. Mm.
the most clean
Yeah.
food you can eat.
Yeah.
Okay, and for
Yeah.
those of you who are wondering, I'm going to promote this. If you're watching this later, you'll see it. I'm putting out a video in a couple days on the difference between grass-fed beef and conventional beef.
Hmm.
What's what's the cost differential between them? Is it worth it? What's the nutritional values, and what should
Hmm.
I do? Do I have to mortgage my house and buy grass-fed beef, or can I just eat regular beef? And I'll answer all those questions in an
Yeah, yeah,
upcoming
yeah,
video in a
yeah.
couple.
That's definitely probably a question a lot of people ask because they
Hmm.
feel like if they're going to like this extreme, like then they might as well go the whole way and just like if they're getting all their food from one source, then it should be it's a
Yeah.
clean source. But something interesting is like
Yes, sir.
once you eliminate the grocery budget from
Hmm.
all the other things, actually it's at a similar cost because instead of getting all the other things,
It's not
snacks,
less.
yes, yeah.
It's not less. I mean, you
Yeah.
look at. I'm always amazed when I go grocery shopping with my kids, right? Because they know what we don't buy anymore, but they
Hmm.
still want it because they go to their friends' houses and
Right.
they
Yeah.
offered me, Cheerios for breakfast. Cheerios
mm,
are heart healthy. They're good for you.
mm,
I said, no, look at all the stuff in Cheerios. This is not good for you. But then you look
mm,
at the cost. A box of
mm,
Cheerios is like $7 or $8.
mm,
And at least right now, last time I went to the grocery store, right?
mm.
That will, but it's like that.